Hi, are you perhaps a fan of top-down isometric ARPGs? Games like Diablo, Path of Exile, Grim Dawn, Titan Quest, or Torchlight? Perhaps that's the reason why you are here in this video. Today, I'm going to take a look on the sequel of Torchlight 2, formerly known as Torchlight Frontier, and is now officially called as Torchlight 3. So, let's take a deep dive into the game. Is it really worth it? Is it really comparable to Torchlight 2? Perhaps what should we expect with the game? Today, I will talk about this and hopefully I can help you decide whether you will buy it or not. So, let's begin. Torchlight 3 is a top-down action RPG in the same vein with Diablo 2 and all the games alike. Well, the first two Torchlight games are made by former Diablo developers. However, Torchlight 3 is not, so that's one reason why you should temper your expectations. And Runic Games, the original studio who made the first two games, are already defunct, and the IP has been acquired by Edge Games. So the latest sequel is made by a different studio and different development team. So how is Torchlight 3 in terms of gameplay? Well, there are four classes that you could choose from, just like with the previous games. The first class is the Rain Master, which is akin to the Engineer in Torchlight 2, and uses strengths as a summon and attack support, and also your defensive support. The Forge, which is a robot, and most suited as a tank. Well, these two classes are basically your melee and physical types. And then we do have the Dust Mage, which is comparable to the Ember Mage of Torchlight 2. However, instead of using Ember as the main elemental, uh, it uses the light and dark elements instead. So we do also have here the last class. Hopefully, this is not the last class in the game, which is Sharpshooter, which is much like the Outlander of Torchlight 2 and specializes with range combat and range weapons. Both the Sharpshooter and the Dust Mage are range specialists, except that the Sharpshooter, is tracking more in the realm of physical weapons than with the Dust Mage, which uses fancy magic. In my playthrough, I have played as a Rail Master, simply because I love the Engineer in Torchlight 2. Basically, the gameplay is just the same with the past games. However, it notably simplified. I don't know if that is something good or bad for you. It is something that you can judge it for yourself. So yes, there are a couple of things that I like about the game. I will be discussing this one by one. The first one here is how easy the learning curve. It is not convoluting and is very easy to grasp. If you have played Torchlight 2 or Torchlight 1, you won't really struggle understanding the game. However, if you really want to master the game, you will have to delve deeper. There are so many mechanics that you will be able to get when you are progressing in the game. So I do hope though that the gameplay gets more improvement in the coming days. Second thing is the character building, which is very easy to understand. If you hated the very confusing character building of Path of Exile or Grim Dawn to some extent, you won't have any problem here. However, it is very limited and build diversity is lacking. I will be discussing this later on in the part of the video. So yes, some people find this as a good thing, some don't. For me, I personally love games that allow me to build my tunes to something I prepare and suits my gameplay. It's not hard to understand, and the mechanics of the character building in Torchlight 3 is something that you might have hated in some games in the genre, particularly with Path of Exile. It is so easy to ruin your tunes with a simple mistake in skill allocation. It's frustrating when you have to create another tune again just because you made a single mistake. Here in Torchlight 3, if you made a mistake in your skill allocation, you are able to at least uh, delete it and return it back using respectacles, that which you will be able to be used later on when you build the arcane decorations. Next up, one of the best things about the game is the pets. Well, the pets are one of the best aspects of the game, as what I stated. If there are anything lacking in this game, certainly the pet system is not. There are a lot of pets to choose from. Dogs to cats to owls, hawks, alpacas, and even dragons are in here. Yes, there are a lot of pets here that you can actually use. And yes, initially you are only able to choose one at the start of the game. However, as you progress, you will be able to unlock more. Although you are only be able to use one pet at a time, you are free to change your pets if you want to, which you could be done in your fort. Also, pet skills is very crucial in character building and will help you gain a lot of buffs, especially pet auras, which add significant stat boost, and pet damaging skills are very handy. Example of these pet auras that you can only equip one time in your pet is, let's say, 30% in your defense or in your damage, and so on and so forth. Pet auras are very much important in your game. One of one of the most interesting mechanics of Torchlight 3 is the fort mechanics. Well, there is a lot of fun in customization here. Maybe building, which is very much lacking here. It's very much there's a lot of content here. You can build your own fort that can be visited by the players. So what is the fort? The fort is very useful to you since a lot of decorations that have in-game uses. One example here is the item tree. The more the item you feed it, the more chances you could get rare items. Or another one is if you could actually have some of the essences that you can be used. Some of the decorations here actually gives you a lot of, let's say, materials. Another one is the stash for depositing items that you think you don't need that you might need in the future, and many decorations that is essential in the game. Another one is the game is fairly optimized and it is not taxing on any devices. Well, I have played the game in my PC with an RTX 2060 and have rarely any trouble running the game. No frequent FPS drops and crashes. Although sometimes in multiplayer, you will have some problems reconnecting, but it is more on the server side. So I also tried the game in a much weaker PC and just runs fine. And also, the game is literally releasing in a freaking Nintendo Switch. So yes, it is very much easy to run to any devices that it is available. Next of the thing that I really love about Torchlight 3 is the way the developers are listening to the fans. They are pretty much open to changes. I am listing this as a good aspect of the game because even if there could be a very bad rocky launch for Torchlight 3, we can expect that the game can be fixed in the near future instead of just keep on doing just, just keep on doing the same things that you've been doing. Just like I can list one game here, which is Wolcen. That game launched with a lot of bugs and fixes, and the devs just don't care at all. Yes, they don't care at all. Even at 6 months right now, there's still a lot of bugs, and a lot of the fan suggestions are not being let's say are not being heard. So if you are following this game from the start, this was actually offered as a free-to-play game with predatory microtransactions. So Because of this, the community really don't never really like the game. So after that, they changed this up as a premium box game with a premium pay, which is you can already get the game all in when you buy it instead of just buying it through microtransactions that a lot of people never really like. And yes, there are a lot of changes implemented to this game with fan suggestion. That is how easy the developers to listen. In fact, you can actually attest to this in the game menu from the start because they're actually encouraging players to talk to the devs and give them feedback. So now, so now that you heard the flaws of the game or basically the things that I like, I am now listing the things that I don't like. And it is for you to judge if you agree with me or not. So one is I don't really like the randomized map, which is constantly changing whenever you re-enter the same map. Well, it defeats the purpose of completing every map in the game, which is a staple thing in all ARPG games. It doesn't give me the feel to go and complete maps since when you're done, that map automatically gets changed, both in its structure just with the same name. So let's say if you enter Trebao Passage will change the next time you will re-enter it. Another one that I don't really like about the game is the graphics. It looks like a mobile game to me. If I have to compare it to Torchlight 2, I can say that the first two games look better. It gives me the vibes that the game was made for mobile phones and consoles with PC is just an afterthought. And just like what I said previously in regards to character building, it is so lacking on this part. The choices are fairly limited and some of them are uninteresting to me. After I had spent like the first 5 hours trying to think of any viable bids for my Rail Master, I just can't find anything interesting. I tried to research for item that maybe I can build around. However, that too is fairly limited. And the last but not the least is how weak the story is. If you are looking to immerse yourself with the story, I'm sorry, this might not be for you. Like what I said previously, the game started as a free-to-play MMORPG in mind, and MMORPGs doesn't really have a very structured story. Story-wise is uninteresting, even if they try to make a story for it. And comparing with Torchlight, I can say that the first two games have better story. That's how bad this game when it comes to story. So you might be asking yourself, how did Torchlight 3 compare to the previous two games? Straight up answer. The first two games are popular for a reason, and this game has the worst start in the series. Luckily, the developers have worked themselves to make it way better when it was called Torchlight Frontier. Certainly, the game is much better now than before. And if you really wanted to check it out, please do because it's way better now than what it was prior to launch. The ARPG genre is pretty much stagnant for years, and Torchlight 3 really wanted to introduce some changes to the game. It wants to pioneer itself as something new and innovative, and I commend Extra Games for the bravery. However, it's strayed far too much from what makes the first two games great. I really felt that it lost its soul and felt like this is not Torchlight anymore. To some extent, I would not say that that the game was bad. It just did not live up to the previous two games in the series. Well, it is still a decent game. Worth your time while you are waiting for maybe Diablo 4. And for someone who loves the ARPG genre and Diablo 2, I always look for games like this. I was spoiled with great games such as Scream Dawn, Path of Exile, and Diablo 3. Some could not be, Diablo 3. and older games such as Titan Quest and, of course, Torchlight 1 and 2. That's why I am expecting more with this game. Well, it was a letdown, to be precise. Torchlight 3 is available for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. The game is launching on October 13, 2020 for PC and PS4 with Xbox One, and a later date for Nintendo Switch. Do you agree with the things that I've said? Are you getting the game? If you played the game, did you like it? Let me know in the comment section below, and if you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share for more gaming reviews. Until next time, peace out!